Here's what's coming up on today's show.
It's important to ask questions and making sure that you understand the pros and cons, because every investment has pros and cons, and you should feel comfortable with who you're working with. And if somebody's trying to pressure you into buying something and they're very salesy, I don't know about you, but I would walk away.
Hello, this is Mark Silverman, managing member and founder of Silverman & Associates, and I'm also a certified financial planner professional. I want to welcome you to the Saving with Silverman podcast. I'm glad you're here. Each week, we'll discuss different financial planning topics because making smarter choices about your money impacts the quality of your life.
Hey, Mark, I have a great idea for you. Next time you're shopping, there's a rare 11,000 carat ruby, which is the second largest by weight ever found. It was recently discovered in Myanmar. I'm not even sure where Myanmar is, but on your international travels, maybe you can go there. But this ruby, 11,000 carats, it weighed almost 5 pounds. Can you imagine carrying that thing around on your finger?
Could you make that? Yeah, could that be a ring? Or put it on a necklace?
I guess, or if you did it with a ring, I mean, it would be like carrying a brick around with you.
That's true.
Because I think a brick weighs about 5 pounds. I mean, that's crazy. That's
I wonder what that's worth.
Really rare stone. I would imagine a lot, but I have no idea. Well, speaking of that, let's talk about financial planning for women. What level of engagement do you find that most women have with the retirement planning process in their particular household?
Well, I hate to generalize. It depends.
Yeah, of course.
And I guess I am generalizing, but when we deal with a couple where there's a man and a woman, generally speaking, the man is the one that's in charge. Not always. We've seen some in reverse, but most of the time the man's the one that's in charge and keeps the wife kind of in the dark as far as what's going on with the investments, which is a huge mistake on many levels.
Yeah.
So, which is one of the reasons why if we do meet with someone, we require both spouses to be at the meeting. We don't meet with just one.
Exactly. I wanted to get to that because I know that's really important, and make sure that both people are on the same page and both people have a basic understanding of what you're trying to accomplish. Why is it that so many retired women are increasingly finding themselves in difficult financial situations? Does it have to do with that older generation? I mean,
Well, I think there's sort of I don't even know what you want to call it, machoism.
Yeah.
With the male handling the finances and
exactly
taking care of everything, and
that has changed quite a bit.
And that has changed, but sometimes, I just had a situation recently where the wife doesn't even know how to write a check, and so, and you still see that today with some other people. So I think that's one of the things that needs to be done. But the problem is, which I'm sure you're aware of, if you look at our book of clients, we have more widowed women than we do men. Yeah. So women outlive men, I don't know, anywhere from 4 to 8 years, depending on who you ask.
Absolutely.
So if we take on a couple, the chances are I'll be working with the wife a lot longer than the husband, just statistically speaking. So it's important that the wife is aware, doesn't need to be an expert, but comes to the meetings and is aware of that process, goes through the financial planning process, comes to the review meetings, and gets an understanding and feels comfortable asking questions about what's going on. So not if, but when that time comes that their husband passes, they're not in just total shock, the shock alone of losing a spouse, but knowing how to handle their finances, who to call, who to work with, because there's times where the wife is not even part of that equation, and they're working with an advisor for years, never met the advisor, and it's like talking to a stranger, literally.
Yeah, that's really a problem for sure. What are some of the specific challenges faced by women who are widowed?
They don't have the experience because they weren't involved in the process and kind of left in the dark. And unfortunately, there's people in this industry, I'm not going to mention names, but here on the radio especially, people that are annuity salespeople who are there just trying to get a quick commission, make a quick buck. They'll sell you an annuity. It sounds great until you purchase it. And then once you realize what you have, because those people come to me and say, what can I do? And I said, typically we'll say, I can't do anything with you. You're locked into this thing, and the penalties to get out of it are too much.
I know who you're talking about, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Well, we have a couple of them here in town now, but there's one in particular that's... Anyways, I digress. But yeah, so, given these certain products, if they're not aware of what's going on, they don't understand it. They're believing somebody's telling them something which sounds too good to be true. Why shouldn't they do it? And they do it, and then months, years later, they find out that what they bought isn't what they thought they bought.
Yeah.
And so, and you could get stuck with stuff like that. So it's important to ask questions and making sure that you understand the pros and cons, because every investment has pros and cons, and you should feel comfortable with who you're working with. And if somebody's trying to pressure you into buying something, and they're very salesy, I don't know about you, but I would walk away.
That's a red flag right
That's
there.
a red flag. Yeah, go with your gut.
You're listening to Saving with Silverman with Mark Silverman of Silverman and Associates, and we're talking about financial planning for women. Mark, if you could speak specifically to the husbands out there, what are some of the things you would encourage them to do to be sure that they don't leave a financial mess behind for their wives to have to clean up?
Well, if you're working with an advisor, you should be bringing your wife along to those meetings. She should be involved. She should feel comfortable. She should be able to ask questions, and there's no stupid questions. She should feel comfortable. If you're meeting with a new advisor, interviewing new advisors, you should make sure if the new advisor or your current advisor doesn't encourage you to bring your spouse, that's a no-no, in my opinion. Like I said, we require, and we mention it on the phone, that, if you're coming into the office, we require both of you to be here. We send it out in a letter. We send it out in an email so they know.
Okay.
And we've actually had a handful of times I can remember where we go up to the front, and in the waiting room, there's only one, and the wife is, doing Zumba or something else, or knitting or something like that, and didn't want to come. And we unfortunately say, well, we're going to have to reschedule your appointment. And so that's how serious we take it. So you're doing a really disservice to your spouse if you're not including them in these conversations.
Can you share a specific story about a widowed or divorced woman who came into you for help, and you had not been working with them, and her, she got divorced or her husband died or whatever, and she was asking you for help, and you were able to make a big difference in her life?
I have numerous stories. I'm trying to think of probably the best one. This was several years ago. I had somebody come into the office. They had some questions on some products that they bought from somebody else. I won't mention who they are. They were actually annuities. They had tied up all of their money into annuities.
Oh, wow.
The good thing was they had a free look back, meaning they could cancel without any penalties. And luckily we were still in that time frame. So they were able to come in. I sat down with them, explained to them what they have, the pros and cons of what they had. They said, that's not what he told me.
Yeah.
I said, well, I wasn't at that meeting, but this is how it works. It's right here in writing. You signed it. So, once this goes in force, you're stuck with this. And so luckily we were able to cancel those. Obviously that other salesperson was not happy with what was going on because they didn't get their big commission check.
Of course not.
But we were able to save her. She was in I think it was 3 different policies that he had split up, and cancel those. We put it into a regular portfolio that's not tied up or doesn't have surrender charges and all that other stuff. And, she's still our client today, and she's doing great.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Great.
Yeah.
I know that you probably saved a lot of people in that situation. And
Well, I try, but as you know, Ron, when you buy an annuity, there's a certain window that you have to cancel.
Yeah.
And once that window passes, you're stuck. And and unfortunately, that was one of the few stories where I was able to get the person out. A lot of times they get into these things, and then 6 months, a year later, they reach out. And unfortunately, at that point in time, there's nothing I can do because they're going to get hit with a 20% surrender charge, which I can't ethically tell them to do, to take that big of a hit.
yeah,
So
that's made a big hit. Well, I know that you've helped a lot of other people who have maybe worked with other advisors in the past, or, folks who have made really serious mistakes in their financial life, and they came to see you and they felt better right away because you were able to zero in on something that was a problem and help them fix it, perhaps. And I know that is a good way to get peace of mind when you have somebody looking out for you. And I hope you will get in touch with Mark Silverman. Mark, every time we do a show, you get calls from folks who want to come in and see you. And I know that, getting together with you is a little different from meeting with some of these other folks out there.
Yeah, I come across differently. Hopefully, it's pretty transparent. I'm in the advice business, not the sales business, where some of these people are there just to sell you a product. That's not how we operate. We focus on advice and planning. Like I said before, I'm a CFP, Certified Financial Planner. I don't think anybody else here in Tucson that's on the radio is a CFP that I'm aware of. And, take that for what it's worth.
You've been listening to the Saving with Silverman podcast. If you have any questions at all about your financial situation, please give Mark Silverman a call. Again, his number is 520-333-7601, or go online to savingwithsilverman.com. For Mark Silverman, I'm Ron Stutz. We'll see you next time on the Saving with Silverman podcast.
The Saving with Silverman podcast is brought to you by Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, based in Tucson, Arizona. The show is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and everywhere you listen to shows. Subscribe to the show on your favorite app today and never miss an episode. Just search for Saving with Silverman to find us, or visit savingwithsilverman.com to listen to past episodes, to contact Mark, and to learn more about how to make smarter decisions with your money.
Did you know that Mark Silverman also has a radio show? Tune in to Saving with Silverman Saturdays and Sundays at 3 p.m. on AM 790 KNST.
All matters discussed on this show are for informational purposes only. Opinions expressed are solely those of Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, and staff. All topics covered are believed to be from reliable sources. However, Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, makes no representation as to its accuracy or completeness. This show shall in no way be construed as a solicitation to sell securities or investment advisory services to residents of any state other than Arizona or where otherwise permitted. Topics should be discussed with your individual advisor prior to implementation. Fee-based financial planning and investment advisory services offered through Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of Arizona. Insurance products and services are offered through Silverman & Associates, an affiliated company.